All right, our Hangout on Air is live. Steve, why are you still here?
I don't know. Someone just let me on the video feed
Well,
inadvertently.
that's a big mistake.
Yes.
All right, shall I mute you out?
Mute me out. Mute away.
Okay. Hide from broadcast. All right, there we go. So Steve, Alpha Geek Radio is not connecting. It's not working. So I'm going to go ahead and stop trying to connect, and let you kill it and start it up again because it is not happy today. All right. Hello, everybody. Sorry, we're getting a little problem on Alpha Geek Radio for a second here. Maybe I should have kept Steve on audio so I could hear him, but let's see. All right. Audio just went live here. Good. Okay, so Dan can hear me now. Yeah, Dan, sorry about that. What Dan was saying in the chat room was that when I'm not live, the click here to just get the audio gives a 404 error. As soon as I am live, it's fine, but I don't know how to make it say something else. I think it's something that we'd probably have to do on Donald Burr's end, so I need to make that happen. Okay, so Steve says to try again. Okay. Stop recording, yes. Okay, I'm going to try one more time on Alpha Geek Radio. And I think we're live on Alpha Geek Radio. I think it is working. Steve, if you can confirm if that worked. I think it did. All right, it is time for roll call. We've got Barry and Brett and Kevin and Dan and Darcy and Holly and Dorothy and John and Rose, and Steve's in there twice. We're not really sure why. Things are going a little weird today. Okay, let's get Steve back. Why does everybody always want to talk to Steve? But Steve is the man behind the mission. We have a lot to do today, so I'm going to go ahead and do a test recording here real quick. Here we go. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast hosted at podfeed.com. All right, let's hear how that sounds back. Oh, doesn't sound like anything if you don't hit the right button. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast hosted at podfeed.com. Okay, Barry says he sees nothing. Somebody help him. Alpha Geek Radio is live. Good. Thanks, Steve. Sounds good on to Kevin. Somebody help Barry. Does he need to refresh his screen or something? It should work at podfeed.com/live, hopefully. Steve really likes his show. Yes, he does. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I hope somebody will help Barry get going. All right, here we go. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeed.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Macintosh bias. Today is Sunday, February 22nd, 2015, and this is show number 511. We have a huge show today. This week's Chit Chat Across the Pond is super cool. I invited Shelley Brisbane, author of the book iOS Access for All, onto the show to teach me real-time how to use VoiceOver, the built-in tool that allows the blind to use an iPhone. Now, some of you remember that 3 years ago I did a tech talk at Macworld in which I demonstrated using an iPhone blindfolded, so I do know a little bit about this, but I'm going to play real dumb and she's going to step me through it piece by piece. Instead of just demonstrating it like what I did during the show, Shelley's actually going to walk me through step by step how to use VoiceOver. This means if you sit back with your own iPhone, no driving while doing this one, you can learn the very basics of how to use an iPhone without sight. Now, you might be sighted yourself, but I get emails all the time from people who are trying to help friends use technology after vision loss. I think it's really fun to learn, too, so I decided to share the experience with you. Hopefully, you'll play along, too, and learn something. Now, to do this recording, Shelley and I had to juggle chainsaws and flamethrowers. We had to figure out a way for you guys to hear me, hear Shelley, hear my iPhone, and also hear Shelley's iPhone if necessary. Now, normally the way people do this is they just kind of hold the iPhone up to the microphone, but I wanted a better way. I created a tutorial, of course I did, on how to use Audio Hijack 3, Soundflower, and QuickTime to pull off this trick. The hard part was to figure out how to pipe audio out of an iOS device and have it show up as a virtual microphone into Skype. The trick is to use the new QuickTime in Yosemite. You plug in your iPhone just via your, the USB cable to Lightning, and you launch QuickTime. In the menu bar, choose New Audio Recording. At that point, you'll see a little downward chevron to the right of the record button, and from there you can choose the iPhone as the microphone. Now don't hit record. You don't need to do that. It's just going to, now you've just made it a microphone. The next little trick was you need to drag the volume slider up on QuickTime because for some reason it defaults to muted. I never noticed this on my own. I wrote to the folks over at Rogue Amoeba, the makers of Audio Hijack, and I told them what I was trying to do, and I said it didn't work. And they said, well, it should work. So I made a little video, and the guy noticed that, Chris is his name, Chris noticed that the volume slider was all the way down. So in QuickTime, drag the slider up, and now that is an audio source. So over in Audio Hijack, you can set QuickTime as an input device. You run the output of that to Soundflower. You run your microphone into Soundflower, and then over on Skype, you use Soundflower as the microphone input source instead of your mic. Voila! Easy, right? Anyway, the person on the Skype call can now hear VoiceOver. Now, this isn't handy just for VoiceOver, of course. Any sounds your iPhone makes can also be heard. Think of all the uses. You could play music to someone. You could play audio from a video or a podcast. You could play an iOS game on a Google Hangout on Air and have the high-quality audio from the game captured as well. There's just possibilities out the yin-yang. Hey, actually, I was thinking about it. You could even record a phone conversation if you wanted to. I think there's laws about that. You got to tell them you're doing it first. Anyway, can you tell how proud I am of my little self for figuring this one out? Let's see. Oh, John was going to Podfeet Google Plus site. The Podfeet Google Plus site there should be an invite in there somewhere that would have connected you to it, though, right? That should have worked. Yeah, isn't that cool, Darcy? I was just so proud of my little self when I came up with that one. Let's see, NC 2015 0222. Oh, okay. Yeah, I was really proud of myself. Let's see, I got to fix something here. I have a snippet for ScreenFlow, and I think I put it for. I thought I was saying Soundflower, and I wrote ScreenFlow. I knew I would do that at least once. Okay, now let me find you the link. Here is the link to the tutorial. Let's see. There you go, Darcy. That should show you how to do it. Yeah, I was really proud of myself. That was like, I made fire when I was done. The new Audio Hijack, man, it's so much fun to experiment with because you just drop things and you go, I wonder if that would work. I wonder if that would work. Oh, another thing for you guys to know, I just sent Shelly a message on this. I thought maybe it's kind of mean to talk about how great Audio Hijack is relative to VoiceOver and the unsighted folks amongst us because it's a drag and drop interface. You have these little blocks and little lines draw between them, and that's how you know the audio is flowing. Well, I tested it on VoiceOver, and I was able to do a lot of stuff. I mean, I'm not a real advanced VoiceOver user, but I was able to grab blocks. It turns out if you press on them, like with a VoiceOver or a VO spacebar, it copies the little block, and then when you hit paste, it drops it into the grid, and it tells you where it is. It says like 1x, 1y, that kind of thing, as the coordinates of it. And then when you drop in the second one, it slides it over and puts that one over it. 2x, 1y. So you can actually create them on a grid without being able to see. So that's just crazy. It's really, really cool. I should probably chat about that at some point. All right, let's keep going here. Here we go. As I mentioned last week, Steve and I are going off on an extended vacation, but the show must go on. So Bart Bouchatz, Alistair Jenks, and Guy Searle will be standing in for me while I ride camels and elephants in India. Please dust off your microphones and send in audio reviews of cool products to give the guys some content help. If you've never done a review for the show before, I put together some guidelines to help you along, and there's a link to that in the show notes. It's also in the menu bar over at podfeet.com. It says record your own review. That's always there. When you have your masterpiece completed, send it along to Bart at podcasting@bartificer.net, and of course that's spelled in the show notes, and he'll make sure the other guys get some to play. It would really help them out. I hope you guys help out this time. You usually do. One other thing, I have a calendar for NosillaCast Live that I'm pretty darn good about keeping up to date. If I move a show up or back or change the time, I almost always remember to update the calendar. I've deleted the live show for the 3 weeks I'm going to be gone, too. If you'd like to subscribe to this calendar using your calendar app of choice, I put the link into it in the show notes. If the way you use it, you have to copy and paste it, so don't try to click on the link because nothing's going to happen. By the way, if you ever lose this, it's always over on the page, podfeet.com/live. All right, enough goofing around. Let's get into the show. We got a ton of content. You couldn't call me a gamer by any stretch of the imagination, which is why you rarely, if ever, hear me talking about a game on the show. Bejeweled was a longtime favorite from back in my Sony Clie days all the way up onto the iPhone, and 2048 has captured me for most of the recent year, but other than that, most games just don't really intrigue me. There have been a lot of complaints lately about the annoyance of in-app purchases and how they work, so I wanted to weigh in and describe a game I think has done in-app purchase right. Before I describe it, though, I'd like to explain what I hate in games. I tried playing Candy Crush, which is kind of like Bejeweled, but with some interesting twists. We start out for free, but the games go from easy to hard in a sharp cliff. I mean, just like, boom, you can't play anymore. One day you're doodling along, happily solving puzzles, and the next day you hit a level that is impossible without buying your way out of it. Same thing happened with 2 Dots for me. It was fun, impossible. Now give us money. I abandoned both games. Now let's talk about how to do in-app purchases just right. My new favorite puzzle game is called Logic Dots for iOS or Android, which is free with in-app purchase, but done in a very elegant way. To play the game, you get a certain number of dots, some connected in strings of 2, 3, 4, or more, and some standalone. You place these dots on a grid, trying to get the total number in a column or row to match with the number on the top of the column or left of the row. To make things interesting, no dots can be next to each other that are not connected, so you end up with dead zones around strings of dots. It's a fun game of logic to look at the grid and think, well, wait a minute, if I put a string of 3 here, then that messes up this 1 over there, and that kind of thing. Logic Dots starts out with a 4x4 grid, which has 12 games within it. When you finish that level, you go up to 5x5 and up the scale. The last level is a grid of 12x12. Now, the downside of this ever-increasing grid density is that when you get up there, the grid gets wee tiny in those high levels. So, I don't know, I might have to use a stylus when I get up that high. I'm on level 10 right now, and it's getting a little hard to hit the dots. Anyway, each time you finish a level, like, say, 4x4, you earn hints. If you can resist the urge to use these hints to solve a level, you get to keep playing for free. But you can use the hints if you want to. They tell you at the beginning of every new level that you can use the hints to buy the next level, or you can give them $2.99 to buy all of the levels. Now, I think they could word it a little better because my daughter and I both thought that it was $2.99 for each level you have to buy. But they don't mean that. They mean $3, unlock the entire game. So that's the first good thing about the way the developers did the in-app purchase. You know after the very first level that you're not going to be out $300 for buying extra donuts by the time you're done having fun with it. You can have a lot of fun solving the puzzles before you ever have to make the decision to pay them, too. I played for, a good couple of weeks before I paid for the next level when I got there. The number of hints you get versus the number you need to buy into the next level goes down. So eventually, if you want to keep playing, you do have to shell out the $2.99. I managed to make it to level 8 without buying in, not because I was too cheap to pay the money, but because I wanted to see if I could do it. When you get to level 8, you will have to pay the $2.99, even if you haven't used any hints. I was delighted to pay the money because, like I said, I'd already had more than $3 worth of fun by that time. Now back to why I like the gameplay so much. In the early levels, they give you lots of instructions. Before each game, they show you how many of which dot configuration you'll be allowed to use. They'll show you, say, you get 1 3 in a row, a 2 in a row, and 2 single dots. Now you have to use just that configuration, even if you could solve the puzzle with different configurations. Somewhere along the line, you start to notice that that information is available at the top of the game screen, so you don't need that upfront info. Eventually, they do stop showing it to you. I think they could stop showing it to you a little sooner. I noticed some of the iTunes reviews, people were annoyed by that it kept telling you, but they clearly didn't play long enough to notice that it goes away. Anyway, they have another type of training that I like. As I mentioned, dots can't be next to each other unless they're part of a string. That means you have to leave blank space around these dots, even diagonally. For some reason, this was the hardest thing for me to get into my dumb little brain, so I kept forgetting and trying to put dots next to or diagonally from each other. The cool thing is that if you try to put a dot next to another one, it won't let you. So you try again and again. And after the third time you try, because you're a moron who can't learn, the game says, yeah, here's a little graphic to show you why it's not letting you do that. There are 2 things not to like about Logic Dots, and I wrote to the developer about them. They have their email address right inside the game, so it's easy to contact them, which is very cool. When the game goes to sleep or you put your phone to sleep, it doesn't save the state of the game you're in. You don't lose your level credit, you're still on 8x8, the third game, but if you're partially through solving that game and you put your phone in your pocket for a few minutes, you're going to be starting over. Starting over wouldn't be that bad, but it takes a full 11 seconds to start up the game each time because they show you credits for the different companies that have worked on the game. The developers wrote back really quickly, which was great, and explained to me that they're planning a fix to the saved game state problem. But they didn't address how long it takes to get into the game in the first place. If I had one thing I had to pick to fix, though, it would be the save state. Now, I don't want to end on what I don't like about this, because I do love this game. Remember when I said at the beginning that I hate games where suddenly it's way too hard or impossible to progress to the next level? Logic Dots is the exact opposite. You get stuck for a bit on a game and then suddenly you'll have the thrill of victory. And even better, the next few will be much, much easier. You'll have these hills and valleys so you don't feel like you're constantly working too hard to have fun. You get to slide down an easy valley and then climb back up before you get a chance to be bored by the game being too easy. At least that's how it's been so far for me. I was stuck on game 1 of level 10 for a few days, but I did conquer it and I'm still playing. If you like puzzle games, enjoy Logic, and want a great game for the grand sum of $3, I can highly recommend Logic Dots by InGames.tv from Ayopa Games for iOS and Android. What should we... Steve just repeated what Barry said for me. That's nice. All right, what else did I miss? Who snuck in? Let's see, Brett was here, Barry was here. Casper made it. Hey, Casper, how you doing? Kiwi Spoon is back. Hi. All right, this is fun. Best Oscar for the live podcast with an ever so slight Macintosh bias. All right, so we're going to throw in a couple of... yes, Steve. We are going to throw in a couple of... Casper's from Canada. Canada. Where are we? All right, we're going to put, let's see. I should do a little bit of introduction. All right, let's knock off a couple more CES interviews. This is the gift that keeps on giving, isn't it? All right. Do you guys like how I'm metering these out, by the way? Give me a vote on that, whether it's... you like that it's just a couple a week better than just like cramming them all in at once. Let's see, Insteon. I don't even remember which one's live. What was live? What was this one about? I have no idea. Guess we better listen to this one so I say something. Wait a minute. Oh, that's why. I got the wrong ones in here. Just a minute. Okay, I got to fix this. These three just need to go to next week. That's why I don't. What one is live? Uh-oh. This should be down here. We'll better listen to this because I have no idea what it's about. That looks too short. Oh, no, that was supposed to be there. Pay attention. Jeez. Okay, so live. We better play this because I have no idea what it's about. It'll come to me. Converting sample rate. Oh, that's right. It's on giving, isn't it? So everybody on Earth is having a problem with trying to get a hold of all of their photos everywhere, that they take photos on one device, they can't find them on another device. And I just walked by a booth with, the name is Live, L-Y-V-E, and I found Tim Booker, the CEO of Live Minds, and apparently you've solved this problem.
That's right. We wanted to solve the problem that most everyone is having, which is where is all my stuff, right? These smartphone devices allow us to take more photos and videos than ever before. But where does all that stuff go? So with the free Live app, you can download to all of your devices, whether it's Android, iOS, Windows, Mac, Kindle, even televisions as well.
Windows Phone?
Not Windows Phone. Windows personal computers.
Okay.
Although you can expect more to come, but right now we have about 10 different platforms that we support. So with the Live app, all of your photos that we find on all of your devices, we actually create a mobile optimized version, and then we load that on all of your mobile devices. So on any single mobile device, you can have your entire life. I can go back into the 90s here on my 16 gigabyte iPhone, and I can see pictures of my son when he was a baby. My son happens to be here, and he's 16 years old. And here he was when he was probably about 1 year old. I can see here, this is from the year 2000, so he was 2 years old.
Okay. All right, I can wing this one because I forgot the name of the product. I really like this one. This is very cool. All right, let's go back up here. By the way, you might think that this is a mug that I normally drink out of, but it's not. Joe Hecht, who does codeforsale.com, shipped me this giant box with a whole bunch of coffee mugs in it. I'm not quite sure why. He sent me all these cups. Oh, this is another thing he sent me. I really like this, but I couldn't figure out how to hang it on my microphone. Isn't that awesome? And on the other side, it says, "Wake me up for NosillaCast." I thought that was hilarious. Should get us at our next hotel, yeah. All right, let's see. All right, thank you very much, Tim.
Thank you.
Well, I thought that was a fantastic product. Again, that's called Live, L-Y-V-E is the company name. I think those products are really solving a real problem lots of us have. All right, let's hear next from Insteon. All right. I don't even remember what the Insteon guy said. He must not have made much of an impression on me. Chicago in June. That's right. Everybody go to the Mac Barbecue? Yep. Yeah, India. Isn't that crazy? We're going with Don McAllister and a couple other, and if you know Wally and Wendy Cherwinski, going with them. All right, let's see how that plays in. All right, let's hear next from Insteon. I'm in the Insteon booth with Joe Gerber. My friends Rod and Chris absolutely swear by Insteon, and I've actually never seen these in real life, so I thought I should come harass you guys.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, so talk to us about Insteon from the beginning. What is Insteon? The audio sounds pretty quiet to me. It's just my mic's down, my headphones down. What does Insteon do?
Insteon's the most reliable, affordable.
All right, here we go. All right. Oh, this isn't as bad as I thought. This is good. This is good. Only at 21 minutes. I really appreciate your time today. Good luck to you, Joe.
Thank you very much.
Well, Steve and I have yet to decide on a home networking platform. Maybe we'll wait until HomeKit comes out and just go see where that goes. All right, let's see. Well, it'd be better if I didn't have that in that mode and I could see what I was going to do. Oh, that's right. Ah! Undo. All right. I'm going to record that over again. That was unnecessary to take that jump. You'd already guessed it was Wally and Wendy who talked to you. Actually, it was Raleigh and Carolyn, who are friends of Wally and Wendy and Don and Barbara's. So, yeah, it should be fun. Okay. I really appreciate your time today. Good luck to you, Joe.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, Steve and I have yet to make a decision on which home networking method we're going to go with. I think we'll probably just wait until HomeKit gets rolling and see what happens with that, because it's just too hard. When I was working at an God, can't get anything straight. Start. All right, fine. Don't want to record that a third time. I'm bored with that. When I was working, missed a comma. When I was working, yeah, Steve, that would be great. Thank you, honey. He's noticed I'm drinking water, so he thinks I need a beer now. Oh yeah, Barbara is going. That's a funny spelling of Raleigh. It's R-A-L-L-Y. His name is Ralston. All right. When I was working, I had an internal to the company video blog I affectionately called Tech Tips with Allison. I created video tutorials to help people at work learn about new tools and how best to harness them. I thought God, I just cannot get this one rolling. This is not that hard. Save. Let's try again. When I was working, I had a video blog internal to the company that I affectionately called Tech Tips with Allison. I created video tutorials to help people at work learn about new tools and how best to harness those tools. I taught how to use our social media tools, but I was also known for some rather engaging Excel tutorials. I mean, nothing like a good pivot table tutorial, right? Anyway, it was a lot of fun, and I became a big fish in a very small pond. I thought of myself as a baby Don McAllister, with a bad mic and a poor background and dreadful Windows tools. Well, last week I got a tweet from my buddy Sam. He used to work at the same company, and he asked me whether I'd ever reenacted the Tech Tips with Allison video from inside the company where I taught how to create 2D bar graphs in Excel that looked like they were 3D. The problem to be solved was that 2D graphs, they're boring, but 3D graphs are too hard to read because of the vanishing point problem in a 3D graph. I hadn't done that, and I thought maybe I should take a whack at it. I'm a big old video star now, with a few video tutorials up on Don's Screencast Online website, so I should be able to do this pretty quickly. But guess what? Even when you know your material cold, like I know Excel, and you're adept at the tools to create videos, I'm getting there with ScreenFlow, it's still really time-consuming to create these. I would say each 30-minute tutorial I make for Screencast Online takes me about 10 hours to create. I pictured poor Sam sitting at his new job looking at his sad little 2D graphs as his deadline for presentation drew closer, and I was no closer to getting it done. Instead of leaving him adrift for a week while I created a video, I did something almost as good. I made a Clarify tutorial. In about a half hour, I was able to create a dummy Excel file, figure out how to do it in the new Excel, take a series of screenshots, annotate them, and explain why I was doing each thing in some text, and then publish the tutorial on podfeet.com. I shot a note to Sam, who was delighted I'd done this for him, but sadly his company was blocking podfeet.com. I've actually never heard of that. I was shocked to hear it, but I couldn't leave Sam high and dry. I pushed the button to export to PDF after adjusting the template to give myself credit in the footer, and I emailed the PDF off to him. He got it, and he was super happy. I love video tutorials as much as the next guy, but you can get 90% there in a text image tutorial with Clarify in about a 20th of the time. Check out the free trial for Mac and Windows over at clarify-it.com, and of course there's a link to my Excel tutorial in the show notes as well. We are, but not exactly, Steve. So that's where I was just going to ask you guys. What I have is a security light segment for Bart that I'm going to read Bart's words, and then it's going to go. Oh, you guys block PipeFeed.com too, huh? So my question is, what I think I'll do is I'm going to go into Security Light, and then I'll do the music right before Shelley. Does that make sense? It's a dodgy site. Hi, Trev. Never seen you here before. Welcome aboard. Are you new here? We don't have a... it's going to be kind of weird. Well, we're not actually at Chit Chat Across the Pond yet. There's a reason for that. You might have heard that there was a rather large security story this week, so I asked Bart if he could step in and do just Security Light with us, but unfortunately he's out sick and he wasn't able to make it. He did make it to the keyboard long enough to write up an explanation for us so that I could read it to you. When I flip back to being Allison and not Bart, I'll warn you. So here I am, speaking in my voice, Bart's words. It was announced this week that there is a serious security flaw in an adware app called Superfish, and that Lenovo has been pre-installing this app on many of the laptops they shipped between October and December of 2014 inclusive. Superfish works by performing a man-in-the-middle attack on all web traffic to your computer so it can inject ads into the web pages you're visiting. To do this, it needs to break the HTTPS connection, interfere with the data, and then recreate the HTTPS connection. Since Superfish don't have valid certificates for every site on the internet, they have to create new certificates to re-encrypt the traffic. No legitimate certificate authority would facilitate this kind of hacking, so they created their own certificate authority, CERT, and they install it into computers as part of their installation script. Apart from the moral issues with intercepting secure communications for the purpose of injecting ads, the problem is that the root certificate is not well protected, and the private key has been cracked. So anyone can use it to create a cert for any domain and sign it with the Superfish CA cert. Any computer that has the Superfish CA cert installed will trust these bogus certs. This means that any computer with this cert installed is incapable of securely loading any website. Even Google's legendary certificate pinning in Chrome is proving ineffective to protect Google sites from these faked certificates. What makes it even worse is that the Superfish uninstaller leaves the certificate installed. So yes, the app is gone, but your computer is still totally vulnerable to having every HTTPS communication intercepted. So, if you have an infected Lenovo computer, you need to do two things: uninstall the Superfish adware and uninstall the Superfish cert. Lenovo has issued instructions for doing both of those things, and we have a link in the show notes. There are many levels of badness going on here. Number one, in his opinion, it is unreasonable. Wait, shoot. Block that, sorry. Let's see. Oh, Trev from Canberra. That's who Trevor is. Hi, or Trev is. Hi, Trev. How you doing? Let's see. There are many levels of badness going on. Okay, I think I'll pick it up there. Ooh. Nice to see you. Yeah, we met Trev when we were in Sydney. Trev, didn't you bring us some wine? See who I remember? All right, here we go. Try this again. There are many levels of badness going on here. Number one, in my opinion, it is reasonable to describe an app that intercepts secure communications, alters them, and then re-encrypts them to make the alterations look like they were originally there as malware. When we visit our bank, we expect our secure communications to be secure, and any app that breaks that security can be reasonably described as malicious, in my opinion. So I consider it a black stain on Lenovo's reputation that they ever pre-install such immoral software on the computers they sell. Number two, Lenovo sells products to consumers. If I get a free service online, I know I'm paying for it with my privacy. But if I spend hundreds or even thousands of euros or dollars on a computer, I do not expect to pay for it with my privacy. I have already paid for it with my money. If it's a cheap laptop, I expect it to contain cheap components, not to come with privacy strings attached. Number three, even when the bug was exposed, Lenovo continued to insist that there was no security problem with this software for quite some time. This shows that they are either dishonest or incompetent. The problem is and was very real, and their failure to grasp that fact in a timely manner is very worrying. To me, this is as big a black mark against Lenovo as the Sony rootkit was against Sony all those years ago. Remember when CDs were the big new thing? I, for one, will be boycotting Lenovo henceforth and never recommending them to anyone again. Up until this, I held them in high regard since they took over the great ThinkPad line from IBM, so I have been recommending them to people who insisted they wanted Windows. Never again. Until next time, happy and safe computing. Bart. All right, Allison back here. I couldn't agree more with Bart on this. I also got an email from Kevin in Connecticut about what Lenovo did, where he added one bit of information that might make you feel the teeny tiniest bit better about Lenovo. Kevin wrote, "This malware only affected cheap consumer-grade Lenovo computers. Their business-class Think line of computers were not affected, which include ThinkPad and the ThinkCenter desktops. Think almost runs like a company within a company, offering a completely different and usually US-based call center for support." Well, I was able to verify through a press release from Lenovo themselves that their Think line of products were not affected, as Kevin told us. I guess if I were a high-end Lenovo user, this would provide some comfort, but it definitely doesn't diminish what Bart said about how if you pay for something, even something inexpensive, you don't expect to have your privacy and security compromised. I gotta agree with Bart on that Lenovo's reputation has been quite tarnished here. I've been in many discussions in the last few weeks with people suggesting that Apple stop shoveling so much money into their own coffers and instead lower their margins. I know that their 39% profit margin is crazy high, but the desperate moves of the other computer manufacturers to load crapware and even malware to increase their profits shows what can happen at the other end of the spectrum. And I'll leave us all with one bone-chilling final thought. What other customers did the company that makes Superfish have? Maybe there's other companies that have used it and those machines are infected and we just don't know yet. Yep. Bottle of red for your cruise. I'm telling you, I remember people bring me a bottle of wine. All right, Kevin, cover your ears. So nice to have you here. It has been a long time. Let's see. Now we'll do 44th Street long. There we go. Okay, ears back on, Kevin. And then we'll go find some chit-chat. Where did I put chit-chat, do you think? Did I put it where it belongs? I did. Wow, that's weird. I don't normally do that. All right. Yeah, Shelly and I went for an hour. Chit-chat's getting longer and longer. AstroPad turns the iPad and graphics tablet like Wacom. I think until they do a true, what do you call, the non-capacitive stylus, I don't know whether that's ever going to really work, though. All right, let's listen here. Okay, Steve, symbols check. You ready? Ready? You got it? You got her? That have used it, and those machines are infected, and we just don't know yet. Well, it's that time of the... Too long. What do you think, Steve? Let's see. Whoops, wrong way. It should have been right. There, you know it. Right there. All right, try that again. Well, it's that time of the week again. It's time for Chit Chat Across the Pond, and we have a big treat for today. I am so excited about this. We have Shelley Brisbane on the show today. She's the author of the book iOS Access for All, available at iosaccessbook.com. You can get it in EPUB or PDF versions from her website or the iBookstore. Shelley is a fantastic instructor. She's visually impaired herself, not blind, and I thought it'd be really cool to have her on the show, not to just talk about accessibility, but have her actually teach me real time how to do some things on VoiceOver on the iPhone. So are you up to the challenge, Shelley?
I will try my best to put you through your paces, Allison.
Like I said in the intro, I have some working knowledge of VoiceOver, but I've always wanted to get better at it, and I thought it might be cool to have people have a way to learn just what can be done and how you can go through these steps. I thought that'd be really fun. So why don't you give us first an overview of what's in this book, because it's not all about blind accessibility, correct?
Correct, and a lot of people think that VoiceOver and accessibility are the exact same thing on iOS, and there are a few more things that, a few more accessibility features, and Apple organizes them conveniently around types of disability. So for blind users, that's VoiceOver and video description. So if you have iTunes content that is video described, you can turn that on as well. Also support for Braille, either connecting your iOS device to a Braille display or doing Braille input on the screen of the touch screen. For low vision users, there are all sorts of features related to magnifying the screen and also the size of text, and then changing color and contrast of the screen to make it easier to see, especially with iOS 7 and iOS 8, changing the graphic appearance of the screen so much. That was a challenge for a lot of low vision users, and so iOS 7
So by low vision users, you really mean everybody over 40.
Exactly, including my mom, who has age-related macular degeneration, and I turned on some accessibility features for her iPad as well. So it was fun to be able to do what I use
that Zoom stuff, and I mean, I'm not visually impaired, but I'm over 40, and that Zoom stuff is rock solid. I love it.
You betcha. And the color and contrast stuff is great too, because if the thin fonts are a problem for you, or if the transparent screens or the lack of opacity in other areas of iOS are an issue, then some of the color and contrast settings, as well as bold text and button shapes, are just neat little tweaks. And every low vision person sees things a little bit differently, but part of the fun is to go into accessibility and figure out just the right combination of features for you, and then tell people not to touch your phone because
don't mess anything. Now, this isn't just about eyeballs, right?
Correct.
Your book.
You're right. If you're hearing impaired or deaf, first and foremost, Apple has done a lot to support hearing aids with the iPhone. So iOS 6 and 7 had some initial hearing aid support, but with iOS 8 and also just compatibility efforts on Apple's part, there are a lot more iPhone-compatible hearing aids, and there is a page in Apple's accessibility web area that will tell you which ones are compatible. Also, they do some interesting things that allow you to use the microphone of the iOS device to gather ambient audio and feed that back to your hearing aid. Wow. It's kind of, I haven't done that a lot myself, but it's a really cool idea because the microphones on the iOS devices are very good. So you get a lot of benefit from that. Yeah, I know, right? And then also you can use vibrations and flash, LED flash, instead of the standard ringtones. In fact, the one really cool thing you can do is there are a lot of vibrations that are provided with iOS, but you can also create your own custom vibration. So if SOS is your favorite vibration, or if 2 shorts and a long, or 1 long, or whatever, if that's what you want your vibration for when your honey calls you, you can create that and give it a name, and that'll be your very own personal vibration. And same thing applies to, there's closed caption support, but in addition to just supplying closed caption support, you can actually go in there and edit the captions so that visually they're a little larger, or they pop out on the screen a little more, or whatever you like. So cool. That's hearing. Also, a lot of folks with motor disabilities, so somebody might be able to touch the screen but have some difficulty with specific gestures like swiping or double tapping. And so using either assistive touch or switch control, you can use those, you can create gestures that make it easier for you to manipulate the screen. So let me explain that a little bit. So assistive touch is
by the way, I'm going to interrupt you real quick here. Both Shelley and I are recording both ends of this conversation, and we're both going to be using VoiceOver. So every once in a while, you might hear somebody else's voice. That was the screen going dim on her iPhone. So we're going to try to behave ourselves and keep them not both talking at the same time, but we might get interrupted.
Yeah, I was going to ignore it, but Allison, being professional that she is, that's true. That, and that was my phone speaking in Australian English, by the way, just for those of you.
We're using different voices so you can tell our phones apart. There's actually 4 of us on this call, and I'm not even sure we're enjoying it. Anyway, back to motor disability.
So assistive touch allows you to there's a set of gestures that can be displayed on a menu. So if you can't swipe but you can touch a button on a menu, you can use that to open the app switcher or open notification center or control center or such items such as that. Switch control is great because there are a lot of external switches. You might have seen folks who use external switches to control writing devices or to control other computer devices. They're head-mounted ones, but the switches that are compatible with iOS, they're Bluetooth devices. They're usually one button, and you essentially configure that button to perform an iOS function. So a button might be a tap, or a swipe, or a button might activate Siri, which is a really cool idea, so that if you can manipulate your switch, but if that's easier for you than pressing the home button, you can activate Siri. Also, you can configure the actual screen of the device as a switch, so you can tap the screen once, and that will do the switch function. Or my personal favorite, you can use the front-facing FaceTime camera, so it will recognize a left or a right head movement, and that can activate an iOS function. It's so cool. I love to flip my head to the left and turn Siri on.
I think a lot of people may not need certain pieces of this book, but could benefit, like if they know somebody, to be able to help somebody to say, hey, let me read up on this section of your book and be able to go help somebody get better accessibility. So I think this is excellent. Now, there's one more category, right?
Yeah, well, there's not a lot of iOS features specifically related to this, but those with cognitive disabilities, and I'm thinking of folks on the autistic spectrum or who have other mental disabilities, are often in classroom settings or educational settings where the iPad or the iPhone, especially the iPad, is a really big help because there are a number of apps that have been designed specifically for the needs of those folks. And the only real feature within iOS that addresses cognitive disabilities directly is guided access, which can be used to limit you to a single iOS app. It prevents you from quitting out of the app and doing other things in iOS. And you can also create time limits, and you can mask off areas of the screen. If you want somebody to stay focused on a particular task and not get lost, guided access is where you start. And then you can use, there's a great many educational apps, and I'll admit I'm not an expert on these, but I did a lot of research and talked to a lot of folks when I was writing the book, and my chapter about third-party apps includes a section on these educational apps, and it's really amazing how much sophisticated learning can go on with an iPad using an app that has been specially designed to help somebody at different mental levels or different locations on the autism spectrum.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop us there. Sorry to Alpha Geek Radio. The tool I used to capture the audio decided that it only wanted my mic. It didn't want playback from the recording as well. I don't know why it does that, but it does from time to time, and it did that. So I'm sorry about that. Did I just hide my notes? That was dumb. Just hid my show notes. Where are they? Bring all the file library. There we go. Oh, there we are. There we go. I don't know why I just did that. Okay, back to it. All right, I'm going to tease you with just that much. Does it change when I play a recording? I'm not sure when it changed. Usually so there's a settings panel in this tool. It's called Butt. And I set my audio device to Soundflower 2 channel and the server to say Alpha Geek Radio Channel 3, and then I hit save and I quit the application. I reopen it and it changes it to something else. It doesn't go back to its save settings. So I didn't double check it and make sure it was set to the right thing, because normally when it's set to the wrong thing, it's way wrong. So when I talk, I don't see the little lights blinking, so I can tell there's something wrong. But since I was talking, it would show the little blinky lights. I didn't double check it. It was only grabbing my mic, not my mic plus the playback of GarageBand through Soundflower. So I don't know. It's always something, right? So let's see. We're going to go out to the end here. I'm going to put a little bit here at the end.
Thanks, Allison.
Okay. I didn't realize I caught it that close. Let me try that again. So much. This has been fantastic.
Thanks, Allison.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I had a blast with Shelley. That was really fun. We stayed on the phone for, another good half hour at least. And one of the things she had wanted to show me, and I cut her off before she got a chance to, was how to use switch control to turn on Siri by shaking your head. And she showed me how to do it. But too bad you guys missed that. Anyway, maybe you need to go get her book. It's a lot of fun. I just think it's really fascinating learning how these things work. So I thought that was really cool. But that is going to wind us up for this week. Many thanks to our sponsor for helping to pay the bills, the makers of Clarify over clarify-it.com. Don't forget to send in your dumb questions, comments, suggestions by emailing me at allison@podfeet.com, following me on Twitter at podfeet, and don't forget to make audio recordings for Bart and the other boys by sending them to podcasting@bartificer.net. Do check out the NosillaCast Google Plus community. I'm telling you, I get a lot of help over there. When I get stuck, that's where I go. I post stuff, somebody always jumps in to help me. And that's over at podfeet.com/live. If you want to join in the fun of the live show, like Trev did, and Kiwi Spoon, and the DHS, Darcy and Hollies, and Casper, and Brett, and Rose, and just a whole ton of people in there, John and Kevin, Barry, boy, everybody was in there tonight. It was a lot of fun. Anyway, if you want to join in the fun of the live show, head on over to podfeet.com/live on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time, and join the friendly and enthusiastic NosillaCastaways. Thanks for listening, and stay subscribed. All right, did I get everybody? Bartificer, yeah, it's podcasting at bartificer.net. Who's cool? Shelley. Yeah, Shelley's really cool. So did you guys see, show him the head nod. Steve wants me to show this to you. All right, we'll try to demonstrate this. I got to turn it's unintuitive, but if you try to show an iPhone onto a video, it's not going to work. Watch what happens when you turn the brightness way down. Now you can actually see. It's got a little bit of a reflection, but you can kind of see it. All right. So, well, actually, you guys can play along. Okay, now I can't see a darn thing. So I'm going to go into Settings, General Accessibility, and I'm going to go down to Switch Control. I'm not going to turn it on yet. If you tap on Switches, it's too hard to show. I'm going to just describe it so you guys can see it. Turn on Switches. Okay, I'm serious. I got this so dimmed I can't see, so now I'll do it. And I'm going to say, let's see. So under Switches, it says Add New Switch. I'm going to say Camera, and I'm going to say Left Head Movement. And under Left Head Movement, I'm going to tell it to turn on Siri. All right? Now I'm going to turn on Switch Control. All right? Whoops. Let me do this so you guys can see it again. So, wait. I screwed it up. So right now, it's just sitting here, and I'm going to take it, and I'm going to turn my head to the left, and Siri's going to come on. Get ready? Come on. It says cannot see your face. Oh, there we go. Well, now it's not working. I look like an idiot, though, don't I? This is nice. Come on. Switch it off and back on again. Nope. It's not doing it today. Maybe I need to move my head harder. Oh, well. So much for the live demo. Oh, it just went on. It just finally did it. Oh, well. So much for my big demo. You just wanted to see me do that, right? Siri never cooperates. Absolutely not. All right, let me save here. Let's drop in our final jingle, Midlight Dialogue Long. Close this off. And we're going to set this about there. Let's see how that sounds. And stay subscribed. You like watching me look idiotic, huh? That's good. Hey, I got your tweet, Brett. That's exciting. Now I'm feeling behind that we haven't booked our tickets to Chicago yet. So Brett already has his tickets to Chicago. That is going to be so much fun, you guys. If you haven't been hearing us talk about it, Barry Falk, I don't know why he thinks this is a good idea, but he's invited everybody who listens to Mac Podcast to come to his house for a barbecue on June 20th. If you go to MidwestMacBBQ.com, you can see details and you can RSVP. So it's crazy, but he's doing it. He's not kidding. 511. We have a huge show number 511. We have a huge show today. All right. Oh, .tumblr.com? I thought it was just MidwestMacBarbecue.com. Oops. It's going to be awesome. Okay, let's see. Let's go this way, and we'll stitch some stuff together here. Join that. Oh, is it redirect? Okay, good. I haven't been into the RSVP thing in a while. I set it up for him using Google Forms, which is cool. Steve and I will be there for sure. You know, heck, we'll go to India if somebody goes, hey, let's go to India. Okay. So you can't, we'll go anywhere. All right. I think we are set. Oh, the hashtag is MW. Wait, what's MW? Oh, Midwest. Sounds like Macworld. That'll be easy to remember. MWMacBBQ is the hashtag. Wait, he is so nuts. What if like 1,000 people decide to go? What is he going to do? He says, I got a really big backyard. He's crazy. He's next. Yeah, he does have a big backyard. But I don't know if it's as big as how many people will come. Now, the next trick is we got to convince the Macworld All-Star Band to come in and play on Friday night. So I'm working that angle. I'm working on the guys to see if they can go. So we'll see. I don't know if Chris Breen can go. We'll see. He says he'll still play. Will they play at Barry's? I don't know that that'd quite be a good idea in somebody's backyard. Do you think that might be kind of loud? But no, what I talked to Barry about finding them a venue for Friday night so that people come in early, they can go see it then too. Why is Shelley's Shelly's HTML is showing. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, what is that? Okay, that did not get done quite right. Oh man. Oh man, her HTML got all boogered. That is really weird. Like I got ampersand GT semicolon instead of the okay. I don't know what that even is. What was that supposed to be? Maybe that was that. Is that what that was supposed to do? Maybe that's what that's supposed to say. Wow, that was a mess. All right. Yeah, you know he's left Macworld, right? And he's gone to work for Apple, so we'll never hear from him again. Never hear from him again. He's going to be silent after this. All right, guys. I think it is time to call it. It's 5:56, and again, sorry to the Alpha Geek Radio people. I will double check this tool every single week to find out what new thing it has done to try to make it not work. So I'm going to let Alpha Geek Radio go first. We are signing off Alpha Geek Radio. Goodbye, Alpha Geek Radio. All right, and okay. Now that Alpha Geek Radio isn't listening, something exciting happened. Tom Merritt was listening to Alpha Geek Radio, had it on in the background, and he heard Chris Ashley on my show, and he loved him. And so Chris Ashley is going to be on the Daily Tech News show on Tuesday. So excited for Chris. This is a big break. This is really, really fun. So very, very fun. All right. I think next we will say goodbye to the people on the website. Goodbye, Dan. Anyone else listening on the app or through the website? Goodbye. Talk to you guys next week. Last show before I leave. And let's see, we'll quit that. And the last one is to say goodbye to the live video audience. Goodbye, live video audience. Bye, everybody. We'll see you again next week. Bye, Rose.